Yam Shaiva Samupasate Shivaidi Brahmedi Vedantino Bauddha Buddhaidi Pramana Padavaha Karte Dinayayiga Arhan Nityatha Jaina Shasanarata Karmedi Mimamsaga Soyambo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanato Harihi Soyamvo Vidadhatu Vanchita Phalam Trailokyanato Harihi Shuddho Buddho Vimuktaha Shruti Giram Mukhyatat Pariya Bhumihi Yasmat Jatam Samastam Jagadidam Amrtat Vyapya Sarvam Sthidoyaha Yasyam Sham Shavataraihi Suranaravanajairekshitam Sarvametad Tam Bhumanam Mukundam Hridigatam Amalam Krishnameva Prapadye Tam Bhumanam Mukundam Hridigatam Amalam Krishnameva Prapadye Madhya Hridaya Kashe Sadanandamayo Guru Udetu Satatam Samyag Swatmananda Prabodhaka Harihi 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 Om Tatsat Jai Guru Jai Guru. We shall have as usual 3 times the recitation jointly of the auspicious monosyllable Omkara. It bestows health and longevity to the body as also to the brain particularly. Many of you may not know it. Make it a point to chant at least 10 or 12 times Omkara every day. And this poetry recitation is so good. If you are able to recite poetry well, the breath will become longer and longer. Because you have to utter a number of words, a number of letters to form one line. It begins with 8 letters, then 10, 12, 14, 15, 16, 19, 21 in one line. It depends upon the meter. We have got a very good system of poetic recitation. Why don't you learn all of them? I repeatedly say that write a verse in the kitchen on a piece of paper or board. Put another on the drawing board, drawing room, bedroom, even in front, in the veranda if you have one. After some time change that verse, put another. You will start learning them very, very fast. And any number of verses you learn becomes a treasure for you, which you can draw upon any time, any time. It will make the whole of your life, minds and intellects, pulsations, vibrations, very cyclic, very refined, beautiful. Why don't you try? Interlock your fingers and put them on your lap. Sit comfortably erect. Close your eyes, open the mouth and heart and join me, feeling in your mind that our joint recitation should spread upon the whole earth and shower its benedictions on all creatures. Just see what will be the salubrious effect such a recitation will have in the world around as well as in your own heart and mind. See, our subject is inspiring your spiritual growth. Yesterday, Ma was telling me, Swamiji, unless you repeatedly tell the people that our object is to intensify our spiritual inner growth of our inner personality. And all this exposure, khulasa, do you understand the word well? Anavaran. Everything is lying covered up. Now I am trying to remove the covering. Anavaran, a khulasa. This khulasa repeatedly had is going to intensify. How will you intensify something in your mind? You have no method. If you apply a good soap on the skin, will it enter the mind? So, mind will be touched and elevated only by a mental process. So, here is a mento-intellectual process administered to you. अच्छी तरह सुन लेना, समझ लेना, याद रखना, बार बार उसके प्रति सोचना, विचार करना, विमर्श करना. हम दुनिया में रहते हैं, दुनिया क्या है, किस से बनाई है, थोड़ा सोच लीजिए ना. सोचने के लिए हर एक आदमी के भीतर बुद्धि विराजमान है, उसको लेकर विचार करना. बुद्धि को लेकर आप क्या करेंगे? दूसरा कुछ कर सकते हैं क्या? बुद्धि का एक ही काम है, विचार करना. हर एक आदमी अच्छी तरह रहना चाहता है. मैंने मान लिया. अच्छी तरह रहना, इसका अर्थ क्या है? जिंदगी क्या है? सोच लीजिए ना, क्या है हमारी जिंदगी? आपका व्याख्यान दीजिए जिंदगी का. क्या है व्याख्यान? अनुभवात्मक है हमारी जिंदगी, संपर्कात्मक है हमारी जिंदगी. हर एक समय हमारा अनुभव हो रहा है, हर एक समय इंटरेक्शन भी हो रहा है. संपर्क अनुभवात्मक और संपर्कात्मक है हमारा जीवन. तब अनुभव कहाँ होता है, संपर्क कहाँ से शुरू होता है, किस पर निर्भर है? हर एक संपर्क जब समाप्त होता है, कहाँ समाप्त होता है? थोड़ा विचार कीजिए ना. एक दूसरे के प्रति नहीं, अपने प्रति है. Every day when you open your eyes at the end of your sleep, the first thing you see is the roof. Maybe thereafter you see the floor or the walls. Then you go to the toilet. The interactions commence. And all these interactions have commenced from sleep. From nowhere else, nothing else. And then at the end of the interactions of the whole day, you again go to sleep. 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 You woke up from sleep. You are going back to sleep. Nobody who is wakeful here, there is nobody who is wakeful here except from sleep. And after wakefulness, he goes back to sleep. So what is this wakefulness? Wakefulness has emerged from sleep and it subsides in sleep. Can anybody deny my statement? The world comes after you wake up. World is an outcome our wakefulness produces. Our wakefulness produces. World does not wake up. World does not sleep also. It doesn't have any awareness in it. We are living upon the earth. But Mrs. Earth does not know that we are living. Can you not think about these matters? Have the right exposure. See how Krishna provided the exposure to Arjuna even at the last minute, just before the commencing discharging of arrows. That exposure of 2.5 hours, how wholesomely transformed Arjuna and enabled him to fight. So all that I am talking, when you understand that Arjuna faced this confrontation, 5,059 years ago, right in the battlefield, just before the commencement of discharge of arrows, and Krishna spoke to him in this manner. Krishna was a man, Arjuna was a man. What mind Krishna had, Arjuna had, the same mind I have. Arjuna's distress was totally removed, redressed by Krishna. Naturally, my mind also will be relieved by applying the same conversation, dialogue, message. Unless you have this kind of a comparison, mind is the same in all human beings. Body also is the same. That is why we are able to transfuse blood from one body to the other. No religion interferes there. No philosophy interferes there. No race and lineage interferes there. If you have the same group of blood, it can be transfused. In the case of the mind, it is still more so. Krishna's knowledge was transfused into Arjuna, and Arjuna became like Krishna, and both of them together fought. Just see. Why don't you understand these naked facts? If you want to intensify your growth, think in terms of the growth. Take illustrations for the purpose. Our forefathers have beautifully given us an eternal illustration. Can you imagine the Bhagavad Gita lasting for 5,059 years in this great land? It's a historic conversation. It was a dialogue actually, but the dialogue was rendered by Vyasadeva as part of his Mahabharata, a huge historic narration of the cultural past, cultural nature of our country. Normal history is only a statement of facts, but our cultural depictions are facts presented along with, can anybody fill the gap? Along with the causes and objectives associated with every fact. If Duryodhana perished, why he perished? What was the reason? And what should you do if you want to avoid the same plight? So our history is enlightening. It presents before you examples, instances, episodes, and they interpret the episodes and then tell you how this happened, why this happened, and how to escape it. So our history is not merely presenting the facts and episodes of the past, but also presents equally with greater force how you have to live, what are the values and goals to be imbibed and instilled into your personality so that you will be able to live a better life. This is why it is called in Sanskrit Idihasa, not Hindi, Sanskrit Idihasa. This was the state of affairs in the past. Learn from it, learn from it. These are the values and messages you should incorporate in your life. Why I am saying this? Only to intensify your spiritual growth. Today is the fourth day of our discussion on this subject. Intensification will always follow, is bound to follow the right exposure, खिलासा. ठीक खिलासा होने से, मिलने से खुलासा. ठीक समय, ठीक प्रकार की खुलासा होने से तुरंत ही हमारा माइंड एक्सपेंस विकसन होगा, उसका विकास होगा. I repeatedly say that life is experiential as well as interactional. Remind yourself that it is so, it is so, it is so. Think of Arjuna, how he was negligent about knowing himself properly. Instead of that, he was indulging in austerity to get Pashupadastra, etc. With all that, when he came to the battlefield, what happened? His mind was very hollow. He started shivering. He left the bow and arrow. Why did it happen? And how to avoid it in your life? When you have the right exposure, khulasa, you know what will happen? It will sublimate your mind. It will enrich and empower you. It will bring about expansion, elevation and enlightenment. I make some capital sentences during my speech and also dialogues. What is that? Whatever be the nature of the day, externally there may be many pluses and minuses, favors and disfavors. Inwardly you will be enriched every day. In the plane of the mind and the intelligence, every day must be an enriching, empowering, elevating and expanding day. Understand the whole life is lived in your mind. And the mind has to be guided by the intelligence. Unless the intelligence acquires sufficient wisdom about life, it cannot guide the mind properly. In spirituality, we are trying to bring about a close blending between the knowing intelligence and the emotional and delusional mind. This is what we try to bring about. A person who has a beautiful blending like this, a fusion like this, he is called a yuktatma, a word Krishna uses repeatedly in Bhagavad Gita. So Arjuna was totally confused. I described it already. Now Krishna looked at him with a smile and started speaking. Now let us see what Bhagavad Gita discusses. Bhagavad Gita discusses the dukkha of life. What did I say? भगवद गीता में क्या चर्चा हो रही है? किसकी चर्चा हो रही है? हमारे जीवन में जितना दुख है उसके प्रति ही चर्चा. दुख का निवारण, दुखों का निवारण कैसे हो सकता है? यही है बात. So the first advice that Krishna gives in Bhagavad Gita is this: Ashocyananvashocastvam prajnavadamsya bhashase. Bhagavad Gita says that there is no cause for grief at all in this world. If you want to shed tears, shed tears. What is that? Suppose you have to smile, smile liberally. Cry also liberally. What is wrong? Why are tear glands made? What is the wrong in having a little misery? We are born here to experience everything in life. So nothing should be unexpected for us. And nothing should destabilize us. So he is asking the 11th verse of the 2nd chapter is Ashocyananvashocastvam prajnavadamsya bhashase gatasun agatasumsya nanushochanti pandita. You know, this Bhagavad Gita is actually the message of the Upanishad, but it is applied to the war field and the action of war. But I wanted to give you an exposure of the Upanishads also. We spoke about Shaunaka going to Angiras, and Angiras explaining to him about knowledge is of two kinds, the apara knowledge and the para knowledge, etc. Now, continuing the theme, about para knowledge he says, tapasa chiyate brahma tatonnam abhijayate annat prano manas satyam lokaha karmasucha amrutam. Will you listen to me properly? Tapasa chiyate Brahma. The word Brahma means not Brahma the creator, but Brahma in the neuter gender. It refers to the supreme and ultimate reality, which scientists are still seeking to find. They will never find it. Objective sciences cannot approach it at all, because it is in the sphere of the subject, where no microscope and telescope can ever penetrate. Their research is objective. But the canons of objective science and the canons of spiritual science are the same. What are they? Observation and inference. Observation is done with the senses. Inference is drawn by the intelligence. The intelligence is studying the phenomena perceived by the senses, tries to analyze, compare, contrast, and arrive at conclusions. Ultimately, it arrives at some discovery. In spirituality also, our laboratory is our own body. We don't need a telescope. We don't need a microscope. Because our area is inner, that inner dimension, where no objective instrument can ever penetrate or be relevant. So he says, tapasa chiyate brahma. In the whole of our Upanishads, there is a great statement. There are 4 Mahavakyas. Rigveda, Yajurveda, Samaveda and Atharvaveda. Rigvedic Mahavakya is Prajnanam Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma. Say. Jnanam. Boliye na achhi tarah. Combine ja and nya. Ja and nya. Jinya, jinya, nya, jinya, nya. Jnanam. Boliye. ज्ञानम. थोड़ा अभ्यास कीजिए ना. We cannot produce a sound from our tongue. Observe my mouth. Jnanam. Jnanam. It should start from ja, 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 ja. Jnanam. Prajnanam Brahma. Brahma, the ultimate reality. What is the ultimate reality? You split matter. Split it further, 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 and find out the source. That they say, Brahman, the supreme reality, is prajnana. What? I don't know whether you are sensitive. See, we are probing into matter and energy, and then arriving at a conclusion that the source of both is knowledge. Where is it written in the world? The source of everything is knowledge. Where is knowledge? Outside or inside our body? Huh? Anywhere outside can you trace knowledge? So the knowledge arises from a source. That source also is splendorous like knowledge. What is fire? Heat and brilliance. Other than heat and brilliance, is there anything in the fire? Huh? I don't know, all of you will have to say. I feel there is nothing. Similarly, this knowledge itself is actually a substance. But we cannot use the word substance because it is related to external phenomena. It is not matter, it is not energy. So that prajnanam Brahma, when you go on experimenting into the material world, you at one point of time find that there is nothing for me to see. Huh? I was there to see. I still continue to be there to see. But the visible and the seen, they have disappeared. Naturally, what is the source? You are not able to say. See, in my search, the object part has disappeared. And what survives is the subject part. So what is the final? The object or the subject? Is there any doubt about it? Prajnanam Brahma. The greatest statement that any country or any thinking community can arrive at. Prajnanam Brahma. That Brahma, tapasa chiyate Brahma. It goes on swelling by austerity. Tapasya ke karan Brahma विकसित हुआ. Tato nam upajayade. From there matter was born. What matter? Not tree, rock, etc. The pure form of matter, subtle matter. And then, tato nam upajayade. Annat prano manas satyam. From that matter, materiality, the pranic force was evolved. From there, the worlds and other things. I only wanted to say this and explain it to some extent. Tapasa chiyate Brahma. That Brahman started swelling by austerity. What is austerity? Suppose your hands and feet are tied and you are put into a dry well. What will you do remaining there? You cannot do any activity. Still you are alive. You can do something. Whatever you will do at that time is called tapasya. Tapasya is something done by mind, intelligence. Don't think that tapasya is starving yourself, lying on hot sand, dipping the body in cold water. These are all physical forms of austerity. The real austerity should be inner and inward. The inward austerity is that tapasya. It is something done inwardly. You think, thought, where from does it come? It does not come from the body. It comes from the mind. Where is the mind? Matter is not the source of the mind. Then what is the source of the mind? That Brahman, by virtue of tapasya, started swelling, and from swelling, matter was born, then cosmic force was evolved, and then so many elements and this kind of a prapancha was born. This is what the Upanishad says. My emphasis here is that Prajnanam Brahma. Prajnanam Brahma. The ultimate source is actually not matter. This is one Upanishad, that is Mundaka Upanishad. I happen to mention that Krishna had studied Upanishads, and he was presenting the Upanishadic wisdom in an applicational manner. He was applying the wisdom to the war front, war field, and the war slaughter. Is it clear? In Kathopanishad, what is the subject discussed? Vajasravas was there. He decided to perform a huge sacrifice. He prepared very laboriously for the sacrifice to be performed. Whatever he was doing, his son, Nachiketas, was closely observing. So the father was performing. Follow me? Father was performing. And the son was only observing. The yaga was in progress. So many mantras were chanted, ahutis were done, and it was in progress. The sun is there. And the most crucial time, important time of the sacrifice came in. What is that? The giving away of gifts. That is where you part whatever you have in your possession for others for their use. When the time for dana came, the son found that all the useless cows from the cowshed were brought. Cows which did not have 2 horns, only 1 horn, which had 3 teats, not 4. Cows which had stopped delivering, conceiving. All these things which were useless to the cowshed, they were brought. And chanting holy, beautiful mantras, they were supposed to be given. Nachiketas could not contain his mind. What is this? It is such a holy, great and noble sacrifice. Every bit and piece of it is to ennoble the performer, elevate the performer, make him purer and purer. Now what is this my father doing? At the same time he is the father. So he did not want to offend him. He did not want to offend him. So he gently went to him and raised in a murmur. What is that? My dear father, whom are you going to give me to? Suppose you are Vajasravas, what will be your response? Think about it. What is this my son is coming and asking me? Whom are you going to give me to? This is an occasion of giving. And I have brought all these useless things. Seeing this, my son has come to me and he is murmuring, my dear son, why are you asking me this? Is there anything wrong? What is in your mind? He did not have patience. He got so irritated as a father and he said, I am giving you to the god of death, he said. Bas, the whole of it is over. Nachiketas did not wait at all to question it or to disobey him, his father. He simply went to the god of death. But very strangely, God Yama was not present in the palace. He had to execute a mass slaughter plan. So he himself had to go there to coordinate matters. It took 3 days for him to come. 3 दिनों के बाद यमधर्मराजा वापस आए. जब आते समय देखा क्या है, एक ब्रह्मचारी फ्रॉम द अर्थ, भूमि से एक ब्रह्मचारी आए हैं और यहाँ 3 दिन हो गए, उसका सत्कार किसी ने नहीं किया. ही वॉज स्टार्विंग, भूख लगा हो. व्हाट इज दिस ग्रेट सिन? A failure in hospitality on the part of Yamaraja. So he was afraid, he started pleading. He said, for the 3 days you were at in my palace, I give you 3 boons. When a mistake is done, you can only impose a fine for it, nothing else. Even the Supreme Court is always doing it. Give him some money, that's all. So I can only give you 3 boons for the 3 days. Ask for the boons. The first boon he asked for, can you imagine? This is how the Upanishads teach us. The first boon was, my dear god of death, when I left my home, the Yagashala, my father was angry. That is why he said, go to the god of death, die. That is what he said. So he must have been very angry. Now when I go back blessed by you, my father should not have any anger or irritation about me. This is the yardstick for all children with regard to the parents. I received a letter in the ashram from a mother in a foreign country. The father said something. The son did not like it. He left home, refuses to come back, saying that father should apologize. Will the father apologize? Is it easy? That is not within the hands of the mother. So she wrote to me. I said, is it possible for me to talk to the son? I shall address a letter. If possible, you reach it to him. Then I explained to him, all children are born of parents. We grow initially. Nobody marries having had the experience of marriage. And nobody becomes a parent after having been a parent. Marriage is new for us. Parenthood also is new for us. So everybody will lead the life according to their own knowledge, experience and insight. And nobody is an expert. So initially we will listen to the father grow. Once we have become mature and adult, then father and mother are the first 2 people from whom we learn. We know what all mistakes are there, immaturity is there, inattention is there, cruelty is there. All this we can know. We don't tell others, but we know. So the father and the mother teach us. The first teachers are they, by their own life experience, interaction, etc. We learn from them. And the first thing that you have to do is, whatever mistakes you have found on your father and mother, avoid them in your life. Nothing else. You have no single word to talk to them. Don't do what they have done wrong. And try to enhance whatever good and noble you have found in the parents. So my dear boy, you are nobody to get angry with your father or ask him for an apology. No apology is due. Learn. Another point, you are the son of such a father. You are very likely to have similar traits in you. Safeguard against them. And lovingly I wrote. The mother must have shown the letter or sent it to him. Ultimately, he started speaking to me, seeking blessings and all that. So the episode was over, he came back and everything is all right. See, just imagine what Nachiketas is saying. When I go back, my father should recognize me. If anybody has gone to Yamapuri and returns, will he return exactly as he has gone? Huh? So he should recognize me and he should be very affectionate to me. How beautiful a lesson. This is how the Upanishads teach, the Shastras teach. The second was, by what kind of a sacrifice have you become the god of death? Both were given to him, blessings were given. And now be ready for the third boon. So in the third boon, that is where the Upanishad starts. The real message. Yeyam prede vichikitsa manushye asti ityege nayamasti dijaige edad vidyam anushishtastvayaham varanam esha varastridhiya. Yeyam prede vichikitsa manushye. Would you like to repeat? Huh? Are you ready? Those who want to repeat, lift your hands. It is good. Yeyam prede vichikitsa manushye Yeyam prede vichikitsa manushye
Yeyam prete vichikitsa manushe
asti ityege nayamasti dijaige asti ityege nayamasti dijaige edad vidyam anushishtastvayaham varanam esha varastridhiyaha varanam esha varastridhiyaha. My dear God of death, you are Yama Dharma Raja and you are the god of death. So all the people who have died upon the earth, where they must have come, you have taken them. And you must have been storing them. Nobody knows that I am dying. Two things in our life are not within our experience. Our birth. Our mother told us that you were born, I am your mother, this is your father. It is not our experience, our birth. And death also is not our experience. Has there been anyone upon this earth who came back and then said, I died that day and I have gone. I was living so far. This is my state of affairs. Has anybody come and informed? Others say, he is dead. That body will not say, I am dead. So birth is not our experience, nor death is going to be our experience. So what kind of a life do we have? And what is this life? In between birth and death. The term between birth and death. Birth is not known, death is not known, both have not been felt. So, are you born really? Tell me, are you born? Will you die? Why don't you say, I am unborn and I am undying? That is the truth. Body is born. But what enlivens the body is not born. The body dies. But what has caused the death of the body, growth of the body, decline of the body, birth of the body, that never is born or will never die. But some people say there is a doubt, lingering doubt in the matter of death. Some people say, Astityage. Nobody is prepared to say that with the death of the body, everything is finished. Oh, it's not possible. No. Something survives death and it continues to live. No, it's nonsense. Nayamasti dichayage. Everything is till death. At death, everything is gone. So two opinions are very strong and prevalent upon the earth. Now I want you to tell me, because you are the god of death, Etat vidyam anushishtastvayaham. Properly instructed by you, I shall know this truth. Varanam esha varastradiyah. This is my third boon that I want. Yamadharmaraja was, what is this? Nobody has asked me like this. He is asking me to tell him whether there is anything called death and whether anything survives. You are the person who have killed everybody. If you have brought them, what was living in them, and you have stored, please open the storeroom and show me. Or tell me that they have not died. Anybody who is asking like this, what is this? So he felt very much afraid. Virtually the question, when properly pursued, Mr. Yama will not be existent at all. There is nobody like a god of death. Whose death? The body has been completely burned to death. And what is surviving? Can it be hosted anywhere? Can it be put in a storeroom? Can the souls be packed? The discussion is very important. I am only giving you a small piece of it. He says, he dissuaded Nachiketas, please don't ask me this. I will give you many great glories in life. I will give you damsels, musical instruments. Any territory that you want, you can become the singular emperor there. But don't ask me for the boon. He said, I want this alone from you. Finally, Yamadharmaraja complimented Nachiketas, seeing his persistence. Let me have more of inquirers like him, he said, and started speaking. So the first statement he made was, Astityevopalabdhasva. The first proposition that people should honor is that by the death of the body, that which was living in the body, enlivening the body, it cannot be burned at all. It has not died. Suppose you say, with the death everything is gone, then there is nothing for inquiring. So the first proposition that he makes is, understand that death is only a physical transformation. It does not affect the real existence that was present in the body. And what is that existence? Now the two verses which I am going to recite, they come from the end portion. This Kathopanishad is generally supposed to be read on Shraddha day. You are performing Shraddha for the parents. But really, do they need Shraddha? I sometimes tell my close disciples, you are killing your father and then performing the Shraddha. Actually, he has not died. Only the body has become disarranged. A biological cessation has taken place. It has nothing to do with what was present in the body, because it is subtler than space. It cannot be hit by weapons. It cannot be burned. It cannot be watered. It cannot be dried. Then what are we performing Shraddha for? We are offering food. When he had a stomach and hunger, he was eating. Now that the body itself is burned, will he have hunger? Tell me. Huh? Then who you think will be eating what are you offering? Does he need? Now this Upanishad, when it is read, the performers of the Shraddha will be put into an introspection and they will have an occasion to think repeatedly about what is this death, what is this death, is it there, etc. So he finally says, why am I saying all these things? Will you remember? This is all to intensify your spiritual growth. Spirituality commences when you understand that I am not the body, I only have a body. Just like I have a house, I have a car, I have a family, I have a body. This I have a body is actually a notion which the mind creates. So your body, is it notional or factual? You will not answer me. None of you is sincere. Boliye da, is your body notional or factual? If you say factual, I am asking you, 8 hours of your sleep, where did it disappear? A fact cannot disappear. Does it not disappear? In the same way as you feel I have a body, exactly in the same manner in sleep you felt you had no body. So is the body a fact or is it a fiction? बोलिए ना जोर से, क्यों नहीं बोलती? By saying that it is a notion created by the mind, nothing happens to the body. When you say fire, are you burnt? Huh? Because it is a notion, the mind is able to completely wash it off during sleep. So 8 hours you are not, 16 hours you are. What is this? So he says, Ego vashi sarvabhuta antaratma Egam rupam bahudha yah karodi tam atmastham yenu pashyandi dhiraha tesham sukham shashvatam netaresham. This is how the Upanishad concludes. Ego vashi sarvabhutantaratma. There is only one factor, and that is the sole controller of everything in creation. Sarvabhutantaratma. It is the antaratma in all bhutas. It is the one that makes manifold things. And that is available tam atmastham. It is within your body. Yenu pashyandi dhiraha. Whoever are able to see this inner brilliance, which remains the sole controller of the whole universal display, tesham sukham, for them alone is sukha, happiness, comfort, netaresham, not for anybody else. This is how the Upanishad concludes. The next verse makes it still clearer. Are you following me? Yes. Huh? Yes. Is it interesting, enlightening? Nityo anityanam chetanam ego bahunam yo vidadhati kaman tamatmastham yenu pashyamdi dhiraha tesham shanti shashvati netaresham. You know, I read all these things when I was in Calcutta in my pre-sannyasa life. Can you imagine the tremendous inspiration and enlightenment I felt? I did not find joy or delight in anything else in the world. What is this? These people alone have joy and shanti, peace and bliss, not the others. What a statement is this? What an evaluation is this? Nityo anityanam chetanas chetananam. There is one eternal presence. There is one eternal presence. एक शाश्वत सान्निध्य है. वो कहाँ है? अनित्यानाम. हमारी जिंदगी तो नश्वर है, शरीर मात्र नश्वर है. नश्वर शरीर के भीतर एक शाश्वत सान्निध्य है. Any kind of a living being, understand that within its body which is perishable, there is an imperishable presence. So to look at God, where do you have to go to? Tell me. Only in the living beings. So many people are living, so many things are living. Can you enter them? You can only enter your own body. So, Nityo anityanam chetanas chetananam. In the living beings, they are the power, they are the presence which animates the body, activates the body. You have a body. It is animated and activated. You say, you feel, I have a body. And the body is activated during your wakefulness. So where do you have to search it? In your own body. Ego bahunam yo vidadhati kaman. Remaining one. It fulfills the desires of all. Tam atmastham. It is within your own being. Ye anupashyanti dhiraha. Whichever wise people are able to see and experience this in the same manner, tesham shantihi shashvadinetaresam. For them alone, perpetual peace is there, not for the others. You tell me, where is the focus now? Boliye na thoda. The focus is within our own body. And what are you doing? Do you ever search there? Do you ever sit for half an hour every day, simply closing your eyes? If you want to become intelligent, close your eyes and sit. All our children should be trained to remain quiet for at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes, right from the beginning. The greatest practice that you can think of. In Naimisharanyam, there is one Vijayan Menon. He was saying, our parents were always insisting that the children should sit quiet for at least half an hour. He has trained us, he says. The only person who has told me like this. I have met so many people in my life. Nobody has said, why don't you leave all your work? Simply sit. You know, this is greater than austerity done in Himalayas for 12,000 years. 15 minutes if you can sit quiet. The other day a student was telling me, I am not able to concentrate. You see, you should not go on reading always. After reading, close the book. Smile if you can, laugh if you can. If you want to cry, you cry. Just go around, look at nature, look at the sky. Try to keep quiet, doing nothing. The source is within. Everything comes from here. Tell me, all forms of growth is from inside to outside. Nothing grows from outside to inside. Every growth is from inside to outside. Where from will your intelligence grow, you tell me? What about the mind? Even the body grows from inside to outside. It is from a seed. that the Ashwatha tree is born, small seed. Is there any comparison between the two? So understand that you have an inside, and that inside is what carries the entire world. Understand it very well. There is an Upanishad called Kenopanishad. It says, shall I say?
Yes.
Habba yadvachanabhyudidam yenavag abhyudyade tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. All the Upanishads are inquiring about and presenting the supreme reality called Brahman. This Kenopanishad, Kena means by what? So I call it by what Upanishad. By what? By what? By what? This is the question. Yad vacha anabhyudidam yena vag abhyudyade tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam yadidam upasate. The Guru tells the Shishya that by which the words will not be able to reach and explain, but by which the words are activated and energized. Tell me what energizes your speech? An outside force or an inner presence? That inner presence is Tadeva Brahmatvam Vidhi. Understand that inner presence to be the supreme reality Brahman, Nedam Yadidam Upasade, and not what you worship here as a deity, a picture or something else. देख लीजिए ना, हमारा चरित्र है, चरित्र. This is written in the most ancient times, prehistoric times. Keeping this literature, why is it that all of you are remaining foolish, deluded? Why is not courage coming to you? For a Hindu, for an Indian, we don't fear poverty at all. We love austerity. Our body is aging, but the real I in us, about which we refer, that I is imperishable, imperishable. As long as we carry the imperishable soul in the body, where is the fear? A man can cut my neck, he cannot cut the eye in me. How much of courage will you get by listening to this? By contemplating upon this. Tadeva brahmatvam vidhi. Look into the inner source of your speech. This is not what the truth is, what is worshipped here. Then I will complete with one more verse from Shvetashvatara Upanishad. You see, I am saying all these things so that you can learn, you can intensify your sadhana. It's not enough if you hear. People should ask me, Swamiji, where are these verses? From which book are they available? Buy the book or ask me, I will circulate the verses for you. Eko devaha sarvabhuteshu gudha sarvavyapi sarvabhuta antaratma karmadhyaksha sarvabhuta adhivasa sakshi cheta kevalo nirgunascha. This verse having been here, why is it that all people are running here and there for decades and decades? and not getting your goal, not getting any meaning or purpose in life. Is it not a sheer waste of our life? See how the Upanishads sing. Ego devaha sarvabhuteshu gudha.
Sarvabhuteshu gudha.
Ego devaha.
Eko devaha.
Loudly chant with no sense of shame. Ego devaha.
Eko devaha.
Sarvabhuteshu gudha.
Sarvabhuteshu gudha.
Sarvavyapi.
Sarvavyapi.
Sarvabhutantaratma.
Sarvabhutantaratma.
Sarvavyapi.
Sarvavyapi.
Sarvabhutantaratma.
Sarvabhutantaratma.
Karmadhyakshaha.
Karmadhyakshaha.
Sarvabhutadhivasaha.
Sarvabhutadhivasaha.
Karmadhyakshaha.
Karmadhyakshaha.
Sarvabhutadhivasaha.
Sarvabhutadhivasaha.
Sakshi.
Sakshi.
Cheta.
Cheta.
Kevalo.
Kevalo.
Nirgunasya.
Nirgunasya.
Sakshi cheta.
Sakshi cheta.
Kevalo nirgunasya.
Kevalo nirgunasya.
This is the verse you should write. Get it printed from a computer and hang it in all the rooms in your house. Let the delusion go and enlightenment grace you. There is only one Deva, Eko Devaha. He is not to be visible before us. Sarvabhuteshu gudhaha. In all beings he remains hidden. परमार्थ वस्तु या भगवान एकमात्र है। कहाँ है? सर्वभूतों में गूढ़ रूप में अधिवास करते हैं। सर्वव्यापी, ही इज ऑल परवेडिंग। सर्वभूतांतरात्मा, सार्वत्रिक सर्वव्यापक है। सर्वभूतांतरात्मा, सभी भूतों में अंतरात्मा के रूप में रहता है। अंतरात्मा का अर्थ क्या है? जिसको हम मैं शब्द से सूचित करते हैं वही है अंतरात्मा। आप लोग मैं तो बोलते हैं ना, किसको लेकर मैं बोलते हैं? हाथ को लेकर? सिर? किसको लेकर बोलते हैं आप? सभी तो मेरा है, शरीर मेरा है, मन मेरा है, बुद्धि मेरी है, नींद मेरी है, जागृत अवस्था मेरी है, स्वप्न भी मेरा है। जो मैं कौन हूँ? मैं शब्द से जिसको हम सूचित करते हैं वही है अंतरात्मा। सर्वभूतांतरात्मा कर्माध्यक्षः। बोलिए।
अध्यक्षः।
He is the president, activating all kinds of activity and observing them. सभी प्रवृत्तियों के पीछे प्रेरित करने वाला वो सानिध्य है। उसके बिना कोई कुछ नहीं हो सकता। सर्वभूताधिवासः, सर्वभूतों में अधिवास करता है। God is present in every being, in every bhuta, in every form of existence, prevalence. Sakshi, as the witness of all. सभी का साक्षी है। साक्षी कभी साक्ष्य नहीं बनता। साक्षी साक्षी के रूप में ही रहता है। जब हमारा दुख होता है वो दुख की साक्षी है। जब सुख होता है सुख का भी साक्षी है। साक्षी कभी दूसरा नहीं होता है। इसीलिए आपका स्थान कहाँ है? मैं शब्द से जिसको हम सूचित करते हैं वो साक्षी मात्र हो रहा है। साक्षी दूसरा कुछ होगा क्या? तब आप किसके लिए क्या करेंगे? साक्षी को फिर भी साक्षी बनाएंगे क्या? हाँ, वो साक्षी मात्र रहता है। इसको अच्छी तरह समझ लेना और साक्षी हो जाना। जो कुछ हो होने दो, आने दो, जाने दो। जो कोई परिवर्तन है उस परिवर्तन में साक्षी के रूप में रहता है। See, you have a pain. Instantly you say, I have a pain, I have a pain, I have a pain. Has the I become the pain? Huh? What do you say? I have a pain. So the I is separate from the pain. That is why it is able to feel it. वो लगातार साक्षी है। चेता, चेता अर्थात चैतन्य है, चेतना है। What greater definition do you want? Tell me. साक्षी चेता केवलो एकमात्र निर्गुणस्या। वो सगुण नहीं है, निर्गुण है। दुनिया में जो कुछ हो रहा है सभी में निर्लिप्त रहता है। Let anything happen here. War, death, earthquake, wildfire. I am writing in our Vicharasarani, a Malayalam magazine, about Vyasadeva's Mahabharata. The whole Mahabharata is presented there, and every article is followed by an evaluation from me. That evaluation is very important. This time I am to write about Khandava Vanadaha, a huge forest. It was burnt. And the background is, fire comes in the form of a Brahmana and asks Krishna and Arjuna, you should feed my stomach at least once. What is the material you want? Please prescribe the food that we can give you. छप्पन भोग या दूसरा कुछ बोल दीजिए, अच्छी तरह बना कर देंगे. No, I don't want anything. I only want a one-time meal. And one-time meal, oh, I suffer from a stomach disease, it has to be cured. Then he says, I want to burn this vana, where so many beings are present. I cannot go into further explanation. Briefly, it is this. When I burn, the animals and others will try to escape, but nothing should escape. I want the fat of all these creatures. But when I start burning, Varuna starts shedding rain and the fire gets extinguished. You are great people, you know Shastras and Astras. So you must be able to prevent and dissuade every raindrop. I am going to evaluate this time in the magazine. I don't know, intelligent people can think how beautifully a fact is presented. Why sometimes wildfire is taking place? What happened to the African forest which went on burning unpreventably for how many weeks or months? Huh? Don't you know?
Amazon.
The huge fire?
Amazon forest.
Huh?
Amazon forest?
Huh? Why? We are not causing it. It is caused by nature. And when wildfire is there, in America frequently it occurs. And they pay compensation for the people whose houses are destroyed. Government does it very fast there. So don't you think fire is part of nature? Huh? Why are you not responding? थोड़ा देख लीजिए ना, आपकी बुद्धि किसके लिए? सार्वत्रिक वीक्षण हो. Such huge fire is also part of life. Earthquake is also a part of life. Cyclone also is part of life. Our pandemic is also part of life. Why are we so much bothered? Who wants humanity to survive? To tell me? The Creator has created humanity. It is His wish that humanity is there, should be there. So He will see that it is preserved also. You think that you alone can cause destruction? Nature also can cause destruction. How graphically it is presented. It is brought, my stomach, my disease, I want. So you try to allow me to burn this huge forest. And when Varuna sheds rain, no drop should fall on me. This is the request that fire personified in the form of a Brahmana comes and tells Krishna and Arjuna. So I said a little more has to be written, then I shall evaluate it. Ego devaha sarvabhuteshu gudha sarvavyapi sarvabhuta antaratma karmadhyaksha sarvabhuta adhivasaha sakshi cheta kevalo nirgunascha. Now, इस श्लोक से आपको स्पष्ट नहीं होता भगवान किस प्रकार के हैं, कहाँ हैं. He is the consciousness that makes you conscious of your own body and the rest of the world. That consciousness, we are calling it consciousness because it makes you conscious of. No other word is there. It makes you conscious of your own existence and the existence of the entire world. That is God. इसका अर्थ क्या है? आप सभी लोग भगवान को भीतर रख कर सब कुछ कर रहे हैं, जा रहे हैं, रह रहे हैं. इस भगवान की खोज में हम कहाँ जाते हैं? कहाँ मिलेगा? थोड़ा सोच लीजिए. भगवान अदृश्य है, दृश्य नहीं, अपने शरीर के भीतर विराजमान है, इसीलिए अदृश्य है. अदृश्यता का अर्थ भगवान को हम नहीं समझ पाएंगे, पहुंच पाएंगे नहीं. सबसे अधिक नज़दीक है हमारे हृदय में, शरीर से अधिक, मन से अधिक, बुद्धि से अधिक, अहंकार से भी अधिक नज़दीक है. तुम स्वयं ही हो भगवान. ठीक है. संवेद्यवर्जितमनुत्तममेकमाद्यं संवित्पदं विकलनं कलयन् महात्मन् हृद्येव तिष्ठ कलनारहितक्रियां तु कुर्वन् अकर्तृपदमेत्य शमोदितश्रीः कुर्वन् अकर्तृपदमेत्य शमोदितश्रीः. हरि 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 ओम तत्सत्. समापन ओंकार सभी मिलकर हरि हरि. ओ हरि ओम तत्सत्. जय गुरु जय गुरु.